Greetings, everybody. This is Christopher Messina coming at you, as ever, from the beaches of the last free state in America, Florida. It is the 7th of February, 2025, and I'm joined by the interwebs magic from Brooklyn, Heshy Tischler, who is an old friend and who is this time going to win his seat on the city council. Heshy, how are you?
Chris, you know I love you. I hate you because you're getting a suntan and you're going to pool parties while I'm shoveling the snow. It's not right.
Look, if only global warming were real, how great would that be? But
That,
sadly, 'tis not to be.
you're exactly. Let the climate change work. You know what I mean? I want a nice warm weather.
That'd be great. Palm trees on Park Avenue, California will fall into the ocean. It's a big win. But all those fantasies aside, you're on the ballot. The upcoming election in New York, special election it's in March, right? What date?
March 25th. My team is ready to go. We've been preparing for it. They've tried to cheat us out of it again, as you know, but I've learned their game. You know, they found out a day before us how to submit signatures, which they submitted falsely. And then they went to the judge, and then they've got the Board of Elections. Every technical that I didn't print my name, which I didn't have to, we had to fix that. They went after on signatures, we went after them. They got every break. He spent a lot of money, and he's really playing the game. He called my rabbi 4 times to drop out of the race. He got 3 other people. This is America that everybody should have a right to run. I even was 2 of the other candidates, a young girl. I said, yes, join the race. This is how you do it. And again, he just knocks them out. He wants to win again because he wants his pension. He's 68 years old. I have a problem with his age. You know what I mean? I have a problem that we got him a special seat. You know what it was to create a special Jewish district Senate seat? It took forever. He finally won it. Then he won it again. Now he's going to leave, like he left the city council because he wants a high. And they changed the laws that he can't have a second job. So he's going to give it to the Democrats, who are going to put in a leftist person that we took so long just to put him in there. And now he wants to come in because he wants an easy job. And here's the best part. He doesn't even live here. He bought a house in Jersey, sold his house here. He admitted to court that he's there for every weekend for the last 4 years and holiday. That's 130 days a year. He's a New York State senator that lives in Jersey, and he has a little apartment, which we found proof he doesn't even live most of the time. But that's his game. Yeah, well, I'm ready.
Let's ignore the idiocy and the machine politics, because that's a given, right? The major point of that why New Yorkers should care and why people in general should care about the candidates we're electing is what I hear is you just described exactly what machine politicians do to make the process so unpalatable that normal people who want to serve their communities just throw up their hands and walk away. And what I love about you is you've refused to bow to that nonsense, and in fact, it has only energized you more. So what you want to put in place, if you get to the city council, what are your concrete goals? What is it you want to be doing that the current crowd is not doing?
That's a great question, and that's exactly my deal. We have something new here. I know you're going to freak out. Congestion pricing. They're going to tax us $15 billion for us to drive through Manhattan.
Yep.
It's not fair. Mr. Felder voted for it in 2019. He allowed it when he was city councilman of this district in 2009.
Well, what did he care? He's representing a Brooklyn district, not Manhattan. What does he care?
But again, he's foolish because he's one of the 51 members that can stop it. Yeah. And he allowed, while he was in city council, to raise our taxes by 18%. And then they allowed us to assess our properties by another 20%. So it was over 25% raise in property tax. They killed us. I want you to know today, they closed down I very into children and special needs children. And they come in and attack they don't give us money. So I get private people to open up these aftercare programs so the parents don't have to run home at 3 or 4 o'clock or they miss the bus. So they're able to go to these aftercare programs that we have to pay. Right. But I get for these young kids from 0 to 2 or 2 to 6 to go there till their parents finish work. The fire department has been going around while we legalize it, while we have an CFO, and shutting them down. And they're coming in there illegally. I have video of them breaking in to one of the places. I was going to have the firemen arrested. No warrants, issuing vacate orders without Department of Buildings, without court orders.
It's
And
insane.
and
Why?
he doesn't pick up the phone. He doesn't pick up the phone even. And this is because they're able to find us. They now issue criminal tickets for something like this for $5,000. We have to hire a lawyer for $1,500, $2,500 plus me to go down to dismiss a $5,000 criminal ticket. And you're going to say, Heshy, pay it. No, sweetheart.
No, I'm not saying pay it. Why on earth is the fire department spending their time shutting down after-school childcare programs? Why?
It's because of the fines. And now, if you don't show up or you don't take care of it, you get a warrant for your arrest. And these are the stupidity that they did to us during COVID. And I'm fighting for that all day long. Today, while you were waiting for me, and I apologize, I kept you waiting, I had a synagogue that was shut down for 15 years. 15 years. And it took me, after they finally hired me and I went in, I got in on it, it took me 2 years to get them open, help their contractors. Today, when you got me, I did my final C of O inspection. They're operating, they're open, but they need the C of O for their 501c. And the rabbi said, I can't believe how she did it. I said, the only payment I want from you is please pray for me, not to win the election. That's God's job, but to pray for me that I'm able to continue doing my work. What upsets me is they go after us. By the way, with your climate and green $93 trillion you want me to
that
spend?
Nonsense. That crap's over.
Governor Hochul's plan will now...
Oh, right, I forgot you still have a communist idiot in Albany. I forgot. Oh, Kathy. She's the one that not only set up concentration camps for people who had the sniffles, but then when it was overturned and the Wuhan fakedemic was over, is still spending state resources appealing a Supreme Court decision about the fact that the governor doesn't have the right to just lock people in prisons for as long as she wants. This maniac.
So, Chris, we understand that she's going to raise our electric bill. So now with our calculations, you don't even know. She's going to be raising every New Yorker's electric bill approximately $154 a month. That's $1,500
insanity.
$100 a year. People don't. She said $154, but she didn't tell you that it's a monthly thing. So we're going to be paying a fortune of money because of your stupid green thing that you can't even supply enough electric for us.
My favorite was her predecessor, that idiot Cuomo, who she has striven to outdo. He banned fracking in New York. So right across the border in Pennsylvania, people on the exact same piece of land are driving new Ford 1F50s and spending the winter in Florida, where all smart people live. But they're allowed to take natural gas off the land. In New York, they can't. And then, not to outdo himself in his stupidity, he then banned the production or the construction of another natural gas pipeline into New York Harbor. And then when people couldn't hook up gas to new homes because of his ban, he went and fined companies for not providing natural gas to New Yorkers. You can't make these people up. They're so awful. And Kathy Hochul took every bad idea he had and polished it up and made it worse.
And it gets... I'm so happy you brought up ex-Governor Cuomo. He is now supposedly leading the polls if he joins the mayoral race.
Oh,
now,
wow.
The greatest thing. Just imagine he wins mayor and I win councilman. You're going to have to tune in because this is
I'm going to be your volunteer chief of staff.
Please, because we're going to, they all warned me already. They've already called me, and they called me into the GOP meeting on February 11th that I'm going to be maybe endorsed. They might give him the Wilson Pakula because he donated to them $1,000. I said, I'm not donating to anybody money. I will help you with funding once I'm elected, the right way, but I'm not giving you any donations to the GOP. I've donated enough where I have to. And me, have a soup kitchen. We have, we support a school. We do a lot of other stuff besides our foster children and our last kid that got married. But I want you to know that what this idiot thinks that he's going to do, they already warned me, we're going to censure you. We'll take away your committees. I said, fine. I don't need the extra money to be on committees. And you're not censuring me because I'm going to have 5 lawyers suing the crap out of you every time you try to censure me for opening my mouth. So they they warned me, please try to tone it down. I said, I will try to be a statesman to the best of my ability, but I'm not going to
Which would be
allow.
a first for the city council in the last 180 years, so far as I can tell. The best sunlight is the best disinfectant. And the greatest thing that came, there's so many wonderful things that came out of the Trump election that is driving it. Every now and again, I get bored. Once a week, I tune into the clown show at Communist News Network or MSN, any of these idiots, and watching their brains explode as they scream and yell. I love it. This bald Jew hating, anti-Semitic, white hating Ayanna Pressley lunatic. I don't even know where she's from. Standing there screaming and yelling about how dare they get rid of USAID, right?
Yeah, but
I've dealt with USAID, so I know how awful and useless they are. Most
but
Americans don't even know this horrible thing exists.
but I watched,
Crazy.
Chris, I watched this morning at the press secretary coming out that the USAID gave $8 million to Politico, and we're canceling it today. New York Times got $500,000 for 37 subscriptions, or Politico. They're canceling it. They're just taking away. I mean, and they're giving it back to us.
Yeah,
Trump,
it's been used as a slush fund to support idiotic liberal causes. I dealt with them repeatedly over the years, so I know. There's nothing worse than someone who has had a direct interface with the sausage factory, who wants to talk about it. Probably why I wrote my book. But I had meetings there in 2022. So even after the rest of the country had moved on from the Wuhan fake demic lie, right? In Washington, COVID was the state religion because you got to stay home because it was dangerous to go to work. And so USAID, they got like 5 beautiful floors in the Ronald Reagan building. God knows how much
wow.
this is costing the taxpayers. Walking through room after room, which is like each room has like 80 to 100 cubicles in it. So if there are people sitting there, you couldn't see them, right? Because the cubicles are high enough. We're walking through because we're trying to find a meeting room, my quick point. And we're walking and walking and walking. There's nobody there. I see nobody. So finally, after the third meeting room that was full that we couldn't get into, we walked into another vast hall of cubicles. And I stopped and said, "Do you mind if I do something?" And the USAID people I was with looked at me and said, "What?" And I yelled out, I said, "Is there anybody in here?" No one, nobody, 100 empty cubicles. Not because there are no employees. No, they're working from home. So I said, "Well, why are we still walking looking for a conference room for privacy? There's nobody here. Why don't we have the meeting?" I make friends in Washington all the time. So I am delighted. They blather from blah 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 blah. In theory, they're supposed to be this sort of capital allocation arm from the U.S. government to advance U.S. national interest. That turned into a leftist propaganda factory. I'm running mines in Africa, right? The people in Africa, in Botswana, they want the jobs, they want the mine. The government wants the mine. Everyone in Botswana wants this mine to be developed, which is why we are talking to USAID about them potentially providing money for some portion of that. Well, that is exactly squarely within the remit of what USAID should be doing. But idiot liberals don't like mining. So they're not going to do it. So I can't tell you how glad I am that they're gone. And that's a long rambling discourse away from the New York City Council. But
No,
you are exactly the person we need to get in there and start shining a light on this nonsense.
Christopher, you brought up a good point of all these red tape and lies and bullshit. Congestion pricing is going to bring in $15 billion. Now, the MTA has to use this money properly. Let me explain to you.
They won't.
Do you know how many train stops we've created in the last 30 years? Can you
4.
give a guess? You're right.
Yes.
I'm embarrassed.
And it
Even
costs
though
them like $18 billion each. It's ridiculous.
And the worst part of it costs us 2 million miles to dig. If you go to Europe, they do it for 10% the costs of us.
Which is incredible, given the American belief that Europeans are socialist lunatics run by communists in Brussels, and even they can produce mass transit at 1/10 of the cost. That's phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
And the only thing they've done in the last couple of years, they've created one station for $2 billion in the last 10 years. And the worst part that is all they use is to fix the elevators. And it hurts me that our stations are terrible. Just imagine $15 billion. Forget about even fixing the stations or rebuilding them. Our entire police force cost $8 billion. Take half that money, create a whole new safety patrol, and we'll have the safest subway stations in the world instead of people being lit on
Crazy.
fire.
There's so many choice bits of this congestion pricing stupidity. My favorite is there's no carve out for people who live in the area. So friends of mine who live in that area in Midtown, they will be charged $9 to drive their own car out of their garage to go somewhere in Manhattan. And then
And
they'll be
back.
charged again to come back.
Right.
But of
Exactly.
course, Kathy Hochul and her class warriors, they said, "Oh no! If you live in the area and you make less than $80,000 a year, no one who lives in that area could live there unless they make $500,000 a year. So you might as well say it is astonishing to me that anyone rational stays in the city of my birth that I love. I love New York. I would love to come back. The fact that it is ruled by idiots and the people keep voting in these idiots, you're the first non-idiot on the ballot in 100 years. And I hope the trend continues.
That's why I love this city and I can't go. I was thinking many times to abandon it, but I see my people, I see my neighbors, I see my family, I see the struggles. And I have the power and the money to go with Linda and our children gone, but I can't abandon. I've put in all my life here. I'm 61 years old. I'm not going to give up on my neighbors. I'm not going to run away. And I promise you, I will make changes when I get to the city council. I will fight. I will going to torture them from day one. When I get in there, my opening speech, I have it ready. And
Awesome.
I'm going to win this. All the top people are telling me, Heshy, we're not supporting Simcha. The older people won't come out for him because it's March. You're going to get all the younger crowd that you put in and all the Republicans. The only problem is the local Republican committee, they're corrupt as well. They know I know that. I told it to them. They have invited me to speak. And I told them, listen, I don't need you. If I win this one, I am not going to let you ever into my neighborhood without you. So you better approve me. So they invited me to a meeting February the 11th. They won't let my campaign manager in. They won't let nobody else in. And last time when I won the vote again, they had 10 proxies from other people. So I don't know what they're wasting my time, but you're right. I work 18-hour days. I run around all day long. I'm going to go. I'm going to show them who I am. They know who I am. They've been watching me.
You just got to shine the bright light on it. Every single thing they try to do in quiet, broadcast it. I will happily be here to help you broadcast it. There's nothing there's nothing better. What I'm loving about watching what they're doing with the Trump administration, and they're doing in Florida, we've been doing it for so long, we call it the Sunshine Law. Anything that you do in connection to the government is public record, right? So it provides a wonderful effect because all these sleaze weasels like to hide in the shadows and shift around taxpayer money for themselves, and they don't want anyone knowing. Because when people find out, they get outraged, and they depend upon hiding it. It's all the same stuff. It sounds unrelated, but it's not.
We have
Having
that.
done a lot of work in Washington, though people hear, oh, you see movies, top secret, something stamped top secret. 99% of the things that are stamped top secret in Washington are done so by a politician that knows that therefore no one can look at it for 50 years. It's got nothing to do with national security. It's got nothing to do with protecting the nation. It's protecting that politician's ass. So it's not an unrelated issue. You're not going to have top secret issues in the city council, but you have a lot of stuff that they don't want broadcast to the world. It is going to be wonderful when you do.
Oh, I'm going to make sure that we're transparent. They're going to get crazy on me on that. And they do try to hide a lot of stuff. And I'm not, our mayor, which I really liked, then I didn't like, now I like again. And I felt bad. And I was hoping Trump would give him a pardon. Now he's switching his immigration policy again, instead of letting ICE in and taking away. And I'm not even saying the illegal immigrants, Christopher. I'm talking to you about the immigrants that are violent, they're committing crimes, that are robbing and killing and raping our people. And so now we're saying now he's changed his policy. Now, if you feel unsafe in a hospital or school when ICE comes in, you don't have to let them in. And he keeps going back and forth. I
He's an
don't know.
idiot. What's going to
I
be great if they all Phil Murphy, that idiot that arrested a man sitting alone on a beach reading a book during Wuhan because it was dangerous, who sent the state police to arrest a dad playing t-ball with his daughter in a baseball field during the Wuhan nonsense. This clown goes on some left-wing podcast, whatever, and says, "Well, I've got an illegal immigrant living in my house. So let's just see ICE come and get him." I hope they haul them off and put him in an orange jumpsuit. Every single governor, mayor who's endangering our people by protecting criminals. Oh, please! The next round, Homan has been calm. It's been about 2.5 weeks. They keep this up. I can't wait to say GB Pritzker clapped in handcuffs and marched off to federal prison. It's going to be magic.
I want to tell you something. The reason, they have all these people who filed for legal immigration, who filed to become to the city, and I've seen their letters. They keep getting letters that we can't process you now because we're backlogged. The
Right.
reason,
We're backlogged by border jumpers that
right,
Biden paid to come here. That USAID gave money to people in other countries to bring them here. My favorite tactic the Democrats use is, well, I mean, it would just be so expensive to deport people. I'm sorry, kids, that's not how we decide the rule of law, right? We don't look at the budget and say, "I'm so sorry your daughter got gang raped," and we have it on video and we know who they are, but we just don't have money to prosecute them. That's not how the law works. We have right, we have wrong, and we're going to enforce the law. And watching the left lose their minds has been magical, just magical.
I love when Schumer and AOC, they're all making these news conferences.
Uh,
Nobody's even paying attention to them. So
no,
I
it's
don't
great.
care. Yeah, yeah.
Great,
But
but I'm gonna wish you well. There's one major thing that
yeah.
motivated you. For those who don't really know and aren't paying attention, but especially New York voters who can vote for you, what was the one major thing that, like, you just said, "I've had it. Politics is a nightmare, but what I'm seeing is so awful. I have to run. I have to fix this."
So, as you know, when you people, not you, but when drugs and marijuana became legal here, and I have a lot of young kids that I take in, and I was just I'm embarrassed to tell you, team, I was just at a funeral for a friend, a son. I was at the kid's bris and bar mitzvah. I've seen this over the last 7 years of young children being on the street. Nobody's taking care of their mental health. In my hospital, I had 146 suicides. Nobody cares. And then
Oh,
when COVID, you just let them sit and rot there. I just can't take it. Somebody has to make a change. Somebody has to scream and holler. And I saw when one guy is able to cut locks and scream and holler, and they come after me. Now I know that I can do it. So let
yeah,
me tell you, just come out, support my campaign, HeshyTischler.com. And you did, Christopher. I love you. But it's not only that. Back me, stand with me. A lot of people won't, but a lot of the big people now are standing back. They're not even supporting my competitor. So if that happens with my Republicans, I don't know, man. I think I could do it, and I'm going to serve at 8 solid years. I don't have
awesome,
no ambition for mayor, Congress, Senate, presidency. This is it. This is where I'm going to be. I'm going to
great.
serve time and fix my city. I love you.
Love you, brother. Good luck. Win it. For everybody who can, get out there and vote for Heshy. Sorry, I was going to say, as if your life depends upon it. I stumbled. Get out and vote for Heshy because the city council is rife with nonsense and insanity. They're wasting your money and destroying your freedom. And all it's really going to take is one change agent. So I'm backing you. I can't wait. And if I can be helpful, I can. But until next time, everybody, vote for Heshy and do yourself a favor. Turn off the lamestream media. They're lying to you and tune into Messy Times.